Well, I wanted to leave a little extra time for this today. Important issue, slightly more important than the walrus, if anything could be. Back in May, a trans activist and influencer by the name of Eli Erlick announced a felony conspiracy on Instagram. Erlick excitedly told 40,000 plus followers about a brilliant plan to circumvent state laws banning doctors from prescribing hormones to gender-confused minors. Erlick's genius scheme, which was laid out in strenuous detail and remained published on Instagram for nearly 3 months before libs of TikTok finally noticed it and reposted it to Twitter. The scheme was to gather leftover prescription hormone pills and mail them to anyone who wants them. No questions asked, we're told. Here was the actual post. It said, there are over 20 states trying to criminalize hormone therapy, particularly for trans youth. So my friends and I had an idea, sending out our extra prescriptions around the country. If you need hormones, I'm working with a distribution network to get you access. Everything is free, no questions asked. We have hundreds of doses of testosterone, estradiol, and spironolactone, I think is whatever it is. All that is available right now. All are prescribed by doctors and unused. Each package comes with information on dosage, obtaining blood work, etc. I realize this is a Band-Aid solution. We need full access to affirmative medical care for professionals immediately. However, missing a single dose of hormones can be devastating, especially for trans teens and those new to hormones. These laws are outrageous, and I can't wait for them to be overturned. In the meantime, DM me if you need HRT or if you have overprescribed hormones that you'd like to send out. Now, in a response to a question posed by a follower, Erlick confirmed that this black market drug network can realistically ship to anywhere in North America, which means that the drug smuggling operation is international. This is not a new thing either. In September, Erlick made something of an anniversary post on Instagram celebrating 11 years on hormones in commemoration of the big event, and as a wise old trans sage dispensing morsels of wisdom, Erlick shared 11 mantras for hormone use, and mantra 6 was, redistribute your extra hormones to people who can't access/afford them. This mantra, by the way, was explained in a YouTube video posted a few months earlier, where Erlick offers what looks and sounds like a confession that you'd hear during the plea bargain phase at trial. Let's listen.
Every month for the past several years, I've ordered a double dose of hormones and testosterone blockers. I save all the extra pills for my best friends, my closest lovers, and my worst enemies. I just hope these little pills can bring some joy into their lives. I have the opportunity to give life-saving medication to people who need it, and it basically costs me nothing. A few months ago, I posted on Instagram asking for testosterone for a friend who actually already had a prescription. His doctor was out of town and he couldn't get a new one. Within hours, my story was taken down and I received a warning by the administrators. Now, of course, I know it's against Instagram rules to share substances, and I wasn't particularly surprised that it was removed. But I was still upset. So yeah, I know it's illegal, duh. So was changing my social security to female without medical treatment. So was crossing the street outside my apartment instead of using the crosswalk.
Oh yeah. I mean, jaywalking is exactly like trafficking in prescription pills illegally, right? Now, in that video, having apparently only just developed this fetish for announcing federal crimes on the internet, Erlick was a little more cautious. There's a disclaimer, quote unquote, early on claiming that the whole thing is merely hypothetical. But after getting a little taste of self-incrimination and having apparently enjoyed it so much, Erlick became far more brash and bold in subsequent pronouncements, leading up finally to the Instagram announcement in which the whole drug distribution enterprise is laid out in detail. Yet, as acknowledged in the clip that we just played, all of this is illegal. It is, in fact, so illegal that it would be impossible for me to count all the laws that it breaks. It is illegal to share your prescription medication with anyone who it was not prescribed for. It is illegal to facilitate the exchange of other people's prescription drugs. It is illegal to ship controlled substances through the mail. It is illegal to distribute drugs across state lines. It is illegal to send them to other countries. All of these drugs are illegal for anyone who is not a doctor or pharmacist to distribute, period. And for good reason. The substances being shipped across the country by Erlick's ragtag group of drug peddlers are dangerous, potent, laden with potentially severe side effects, and they make irreversible changes to your body. In participating in this scheme, not just participating, but organizing it, Erlick has violated dozens of state laws, federal laws, and international laws, making the perp here eligible for decades in federal prison. This has been done and talked about openly on every available platform, yet up to this moment, there has been not so much as an Instagram suspension in response, much less a raid by the DEA. Why? Well, because Eli Erlick is in a privileged class, the most privileged class that has ever existed in the West. That's why the confessed drug trafficker responded so brazenly when I first started tweeting about this issue on Friday after Libs of TikTok reported on it. And I started tweeting about it and talking about it. And from Erlick, there was never any denial. Still to this point, no denial. None. Instead, Erlick defended the criminal activity, telling me that these drugs are life-saving medications, which is just more confirmation that you're doing what it appears that you're doing, which is illegally distributing the drugs. When I remarked that this response may be the first time in my life that someone has tried to dunk on me by publicly confessing to a federal crime, Erlick replied, "It's an honor, Matt." Erlick also thanked us for advertising, quote unquote, the trafficking operation and fully embraced the label drug smuggler. Said it might go in the bio. Now, it should be noted, for what it's worth, that Erlick was slightly less excited to embrace the label accused sexual abuser, threatening to sue me for libel when I reposted reports from other outlets noting that Erlick has, along with being a confessed drug smuggler, has indeed been accused of sexual assault by multiple alleged victims. And that's a fact. That's the news there. The accusation has been made. I don't know if it's true or not, but there was the accusations. So I suppose we can add the law to the list of things this person does not begin to understand, thinking that I could be sued for libel for reposting a news report. But no surprise coming from someone who casually captions their selfies with criminal conspiracy confessions. But go ahead and file your lawsuit, Eli. Please do. I have a feeling that discovery might be a very interesting process. Now, Eli, I admit that you have some justification for being so brazen. After all, you've never been held accountable for anything in your entire life. You are privileged and spoiled, and literally never in your life have you been held accountable for anything. So why should that change now? I mean, why should justice catch up with you now, you ask? Well, part of the reason why people like you skate by enjoying your own set of rules is that so often people like the rest of us have grown to simply accept this absurd state of affairs. There's no reason why the system would punish someone like you if nobody even bothers to demand it, because we assume it's not going to happen. And maybe that assumption would be correct. I mean, maybe nothing much will happen, even if we do demand it. Or maybe you would actually be made to face some sort of consequence for the first time in your life. Either way, we're going to find out. Because I am not going to simply accept that being trans makes you above the law. Even less am I going to accept the illegal distribution of dangerous drugs to minors. I'm not going to let this go or shrug my shoulders and say, well, nothing we can do, and move on. No more of that. I'm going to use the resources at my disposal, which are considerably greater than the resources at your disposal, to make sure that justice is done here. Why? Well, because you're distributing dangerous drugs to minors across the country, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. Thanks to predators like yourself, kids have many avenues for obtaining these substances without any doctor's approval, much less parental consent. This is what parents have to worry about now, that their children will, in secret, begin to medically transition with the help of drugs they obtained through Instagram. Now, I doubt that you're the country's most prolific illegal distributor of prescription drugs, but you are the one that we're going to make an example of, because we have to start somewhere. Also, Eli, I should note that I just don't like your attitude. I think you need some humility in your life. And I am generous enough to help you develop that virtue. So, here's what's going to happen. I want anyone concerned about this criminal activity to do the responsible thing and report it to the relevant authorities. If you see something, say something. How many times have we been told that? And let's start with the DEA. You can easily find the link on Google, but here is the URL. We'll put it up on the screen for you. dea.gov/submit-tip. From there, you can submit a tip, either anonymously or not. It's up to you. And you can note that there is someone by the name of Eli Erlick who has announced an intention to participate in the illegal distribution of prescription drugs across the country. We're not finished. Erlick, despite not understanding math, statistics, the law, or for that matter, human biology, is a PhD candidate at the University of California, Santa Cruz. The university ought to know and ought to act upon the fact that one of their PhDs is an admitted drug trafficker. So yesterday, I reached out personally to the chancellor of the university, Cynthia K. Larive, to ask her about this matter, and I haven't heard back yet. Now, I'm going to give her the rest of today to respond and to explain what steps are being taken to address this very troubling situation. But if I still could not get a hold of her after today, then it will be my duty and responsibility as a citizen to share the publicly available contact information for the university administration and encourage all of my thousands of listeners and viewers and the millions who follow me on social media to call and email demanding that the university take action. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I have a feeling that it will. After all, the university said nothing earlier in the summer when Erlick posted a tweet calling for the assassination of Supreme Court justices. They remained silent then too. But silence will not be an option anymore. What is it that they say again? Oh, silence is violence. We're not done yet. Erlick, having used social media and Instagram in particular to coordinate this criminal activity, should be indefinitely suspended. There has rarely been a more deserving candidate for deplatforming, as this account is an actual danger to children. Reason enough for a permanent ban. So we'll walk you through the steps to file your report with Instagram. You go to Instagram, first go to Eli Erlick's page, then hit the three little dots at the top right of the screen and select report. And from there, select report account, and then select it's posting content that shouldn't be on Instagram, and then select sale of illegal or regulated goods, and finally drugs. Everyone listening to me right now should do that. What should happen from here is that Eli is kicked out of school, deplatformed, arrested, and put under criminal investigation by both federal and state authorities. That's what should happen. That would be the just and right result here. Will any of that happen? Well, there's only one way to find out. And even if every institution decides to accept Erlick's trans your way out of jail free card, a very distinct possibility, after all, these institutions are ideologically captured as previously established, but even still, at least by using all of our platforms to amplify this story, we can ensure that whenever anyone Googles this person in the future, potential employers or anybody else, they will immediately see that Eli Erlick is a confessed drug peddler. This is already working. We've already prompted several news outlets, including Fox, to cover the scandal. And we're going to continue because we can make sure that this creep is branded by these admitted crimes for eternity. And that's something at least. But most of all, we can send a message that we do not accept the hierarchy that our society has put in place. We are not going to bow our heads submissively as the privileged classes break the law and harm our children at will. We're just not. We're going to fight back. And that's what this is. And that is also why Eli Erlick, who again has confessed to distributing drugs illegally across the country to minors, is canceled. Well, if you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get more content like it. If you're craving more content, go watch or listen to my full show at dailywire.com, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.